Hello Kamal, have a seat. So Kamal, you are from Janti Majri.
Yes, sir.
And there is a very popular temple, Janti Devi temple.
Right, sir.
Can you tell me something about Janti Devi?
So Janti Devi, the main temple is in Kangra, Himachal Pradesh. The story goes like that there was a kingdom named Hathnor in the village. So it's a story basically that a girl from Kangra, the king of Kangra, was engaged in this village Janti Devi. So she was a devotee of Mata Janti. So when the dolly of the girl, when they tried to pick it up, it became too heavy. So then the Devi came in the dream of the king, and they said that a separate dolly should be there, where I will go with the girl. And subsequently the temple was established in the village, and the people started playing it. So other, which is a unique thing about the village and the next 4 villages, is that there is no double story house in the village. All houses are the single story.
Why?
Because it said that Devi, the goddess, doesn't want a double story or third story houses, so that there remain equality, and that no one should be above the height of temple that is there.
Okay. So you have done civil engineering.
Right, sir.
Recently there was a bridge in news that fell down in Gujarat.
Yes, sir.
What was the reason?
So the Morbi bridge, that the recently the special investigation team that set up, they gave their report. They gave 2-3 reasons.
Okay.
One is that the contractor has a civil engineering background. He was it is a watchmaking company, so they did not have the required expertise. So second was the contract duration was already expired, so it was not renewed. So it was lapses on both the local bodies and the contractor, where the required repair was not done because bridge is already 148 years old. So these were the lapses that were done.
All right. If you said it is almost 140 years old,
Right.
bridge, right? So we are sitting in 2023, so perhaps we are talking about 1880s,
Right, sir.
1882,
Right.
83, roughly, right? So who was the governor at that time? Governor of India? Governor General of India?
So I'm not sure, but it might be Lord Dufferin at that time, 1880s.
Okay, good, very good. All right. So you have Anthro as your optional.
Yes, sir.
There is a kind of debate always that we come across about Anthro, that is it a science or is it history? So what according to you is the subject? Is it science or history?
So there's a beautiful line A.L. Crowborough said that it has the scientific component of all the humanities, and it has all the humanities in the scientific component, which says that it is humanities as well as science, because a man cannot be studied in isolation. Both scientific and the humanities components need to be studied.
Okay, so
What according to you is cultural anthropology?
So cultural anthropology is where we study the art, knowledge, belief, morals, and values of man in a society.
Okay. First of all, why anthropology?
So since I had the option to choose, and
Okay.
I gone through the syllabus of anthropology, there were 2 reasons. Since it has both science and humanities component, I thought that my interest will be sustained, because if I have to study it in long run. So second reason was it has the overlap with some GS papers, GS1 being the caste and tribal studies, and also GS3, the genetic and physical anthropology studies.
So not the interest of the subject, but
So also the interest, the first part, because science and humanities component were there. So I thought if I take this subject, then the interest in this subject will be sustained.
okay. Can you trace me the evolution of human skull?
Let's go back. So can I take few seconds?
Yes, sure.
So we start with the Australopithecus, which has the skull of around 150 to 200 cc's. So then it started increasing, and the maximum stage reaches the Neanderthals. Then in the humans, the skull size had decreased, especially the brain size. For the Neanderthal has the larger brain size than the humans. It was around 1500 cc's. We human have around 1430 cc, sir. So it decreased in to Homo sapiens from Neanderthals.
Okay. Commission has given obviously an option to choose anthropology, yes. But how can anthropology and administration go hand in hand?
Right, sir.
Okay, can you tell me few instances or like 2 or 3 ways how can anthropology and administration go hand in hand?
So the two, three things that I have noticed during the preparation is that the subject of anthropology has increased the cultural tolerance in me, being studied the most vulnerable sections of our society, the tribals, the lower caste people, their problems. So sense of compassion and tolerance is definitely inculcated during these years. So second is the studying a man in the cultural sphere. For example, certain programs were there in 1980s that was introduced by Uttar Pradesh government, that is community development projects. So they were failed. The reason because they ignored the cultural practices of that area. So then the anthropology came to the rescue, where famous anthropology S.C. Dubey has renewed these programs studying the cultural perspective. So that's how the anthropology can help in administration.
Okay. What is out of Africa theory?
Right, sir. So out of Africa theory was given by Christoph Stranger. He said that the man has first, the Homo sapiens, the archaic human, has first originated in Africa around 1 lakh years ago. Then they started moving to other continents, first being the Europe, around 18,000 years ago. Then they spread to Asia, North America, and other regions. Then they populated the entire Earth.
Okay, taking Sir's question about the Morbi Bridge forward. What kind of bridge was it?
So it was a suspension bridge, sir.
Okay, can you tell me a few features of suspension bridge?
Right, sir. So it has suspenders, then there was the suspension cables, then the pedestal was there, and so I'm not sure about the structural details, sir. I'll read about it.
What are your hobbies?
So I like running, and I've lately started reading fictional books.
Okay, what is your take on these apps who use your personal data and privacy of the running and the Nike run or say step set go everything? What's your take on that, and how is privacy dependent on those apps? How your privacy is? Isn't that a kind of privacy breach in first place?
Yes. So when we first enroll through these apps, they clearly give us the disclaimer that how the data will be used. The determined conditions are clearly mentioned there.
Yes.
So before filling out data, we agree to that. And the data that is they get our age or our heart rate or how much we run and our locations, most importantly.
Yes.
So they definitely have this data and they have the right to use.
And that's what any person or any company would want, na?
Yes, sir.
You have your herd data and everything, and they can pass that data to insurance companies and everything.
Yes, sir.
And secondly, they can have your location as well.
Right, sir.
So you are done.
So data, as said, is the new oil, and they will use that data to their beneficiary because at the end, the multinational companies are there for profit making. So, but we need to make sure that the data fiduciaries and data principals are both responsible when data is being circulated. For that, the stringent laws, for example, IT regulations is there. That and the data protection law should be must introduce again in the parliament for the protection of data.
Can you tell me few flagship schemes of Haryana?
Right, sir. So for the protection of girl child, there is a Aapki Beti Hamari Beti Yojana.
Okay.
So second, for the agriculture, there is a Bhavantar Bharpai Yojana, which has been successful in Haryana especially. So third is the Fasal Bima Yojana for agriculture. So fourth is for employment is the Kaushal Rozgar Vikas Yojana in Haryana. So I'm able to recall these ones.
Okay. Can you tell me about the last one? You said.
So Kaushal Rozgar Vikas Yojana is there where a person would be skilled, then they would be employed for 1 or 2 years in the government departments. So it is a contract-based employment.
Okay, and if you are the mission director of that scheme, what changes that you will want to take in this?
So I'm not fully aware about the program details, but one thing can be make sure that once the contract is done, the labor is absorbed in the other industries. So they should be skilled properly so that they can employ it in other industries as well, apart from the government sector.
Okay. Stubble burning has been an issue.
And that's
It's a continuous issue. As an SDM of your area, of your particular division, what steps that you want to take to minimize it? Can you succinct them in 2 or 3 points?
So can I take a few seconds?
Yes, take it.
So one is to make sure that we have the proper data that what are the hotspots, the areas where it is happening. Second is to make sure that the in-situ management of stubble burning can be done. That is,
As an SDM, you will take care of in-situ management.
so make sure that there are proper custom hiring centers in the block where that can be, the machines can be hired and
Okay.
easily accessible. For example, iKheti hub is there in Haryana.
Yes, yes.
There they can be hired, so its proper function should be monitored. So third is the tracking, to see that if it's actually, the people are actually hiring these machines or not, and if not, then what are the reasons and how it can be made more accessible.
Okay. What's your take on G20 Presidency of India, and what positives can come out of this?
So it's a watershed moment for India that India has assumed the presidency of G20. There are many positives.
Yes.
One is that India would emerge as the voice of Global South, because Global South is a region which is not responsible for the problems they are facing right now, being it the climate change or terrorism. So second is to vouch for its permanent seat in the United Nations,
Nice.
to generate consensus. So third is to diversify its trade with the G20 countries. So
Okay.
these 3 points can be.
Thank you, Kamal.
Kamal, let's presume that all the national highways from Delhi to Chandigarh are blocked. So can you tell me the important state highways that can bring you back home from Delhi?
So one can, so I'm not aware about the number of national highways, but one can take the route to the Amritsar, that is there. Then from Amritsar to via New Chandigarh, we can come to the Chandigarh.
It's too long. From Delhi to Amritsar and then to Chandigarh. That will be hell wastage of time.
Sir, I'm not sure, sir. I'll read about it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.